Hello everyone, what we're going to go through today is really different ways of importing goods over from China. So we're going to go through the three different methods that I've actually used, and also I'm going to show you the cost of actually importing a container. So stick to the end to actually see and compare all the costs for us. Now, as you do with most things this day and age, what I've actually done is I've actually come up with some definitions from simply using ChatGPT. Now, to start straight away, we've got three different ways. Okay, we've got EXW, FOB, and DDP. Okay, these are the ones that I've used, so these are the ones I'm going to be talking about because simply I've used them. Now, while I'm actually talking about these, what I'm going to have is also the. I'll do that afterwards too. So let's talk about them. Okay, so reading nice and easily from ChatGPT, what we've got. EXW means that the seller provides the goods at the premises. Okay, factory and warehouse, or another name price. The seller is not responsible for loading the goods onto the buyer's vehicle or for clearing the goods for export unless otherwise agreed. The buyer bears all the cost and risk involved in taking the goods from the seller's premises to the desired destination. So what does that mean? Okay, so the buyer would be responsible for all aspects of shipping goods from the seller's location, including export clearance, shipping, insurance, and other related costs. So really what you're thinking is, if you're asking a supplier, can I have EXW terms? Basically that is the cost per unit. That's all it is, cost per unit. We're not talking about any shipping involved. It's as if you simply have them make it, and then you're responsible for actually picking the items and actually having them into your destination. Now, obviously, um, it can seem very easy and simple to do it that way because then you can actually contact your forwarder and then pick it up from that destination and then move it over to the port, and then you pay all the fees and then import it and so on. But what I've actually gathered throughout doing this is that by doing it this method is probably the most expensive for us. So which takes us to the next way. The reason is to the majority of the shipments that I do at the moment in time are free, sorry, I wasted with free, called FOB, okay, which means free on board. Now, what does that mean? It means that um, they will actually bring it to a certain location that the forwarder wants. So really the transportation from the mainland China to the port is done by the supplier. So really they'll have different ways of actually moving them goods. They probably already have trucks or lorries that are actually going to that destination. So hence as to why you're actually saving yourself. And honestly, I've saved like 200-300 quid every time I'm actually doing that, especially if you're actually buying multiple units. But let's read the definition for us. So FOB means that the seller must load the goods on board a vessel nominated by the buyer at the named port of shipment. The risk of loss of damages to the goods passes to the buyer when the goods are on board the vessel, and the buyer bears all costs from that moment onwards. So they're clearing the fees in China, so that's paid. In the context of shipping from China, the seller in China is responsible for getting the goods to the Chinese port and loading them to the ship. Once the goods are on board, the buyer takes over responsibility, the sea freight, insurance, and any further transportation costs. So again, that's something that you actually to consider if you're doing FOB is nautical insurance. So that means that you are responsible to contact your forwarder, and they'll ask you, do you want to actually insure this vessel or this shipment? And I've asked them many times, and it is per shipment. It's not like something you can do annually. It all depends on the value of your shipment for us. But you're talking, I mean, if it's like 3-4K, 65 to 70 quid as an insurance, just think about it. You've got a container that's going through rough seas at the moment in time. I mean, it's been rough here, never mind going to the big seas. So that's why it's worth having it insured. So really effectively what you're doing is you're saying now, I've started contacting sellers instead of asking, can I have EXW prices? I ask him, can I have FOB prices? Why is that? It's because I now have my forwarder through Westbound. That's the ones that I've actually been using. And they actually give me a rate card every 2 weeks. And now I know that I can have cubic meters and compare costs. So instead of me actually waiting for somebody to give me a quote and so on, I ask him, can I have FOB cost, please, per item? And then I can do all my calculations for us. So the more you actually do it, the easier all the terminology will actually be hands with you. The last way of actually doing it, and the first way of actually importing goods for myself when I came over here, okay, over here when I started with private labeling, is DDP, okay, so delivery duty paid. So DDP is the easiest method, okay, so the seller delivers the goods when the goods are placed on disposal of the buyer. Cleared for import or arriving means of transport, ready for unloading and the name, place of destination. The seller bears all costs and risks bringing the goods in place of destination, including the duty and other import costs. In the context of shipping from China, the seller is responsible for all shipping costs, risk responsibilities, including export and import duties, until the goods are received in the buyer's destination. There is a most comprehensive option for the buyer, as involves minimal responsibility of their part. And that's the thing. Is the easiest way to actually import goods, especially probably in your first shipments. I would recommend you doing delivery duty paid because you'll know exactly what the landed cost will be for your item. So hence as to what I think is probably the easiest way of having it. And that means that all import fees are paid. You don't need to pay VAT. On top of that, they've organized everything. You know the landed costs. So, which brings me to my spreadsheet. So I'm just going to get a spreadsheet there for us, and I'll just show you. So my spreadsheet here, okay. On my spreadsheet, I've got one, two, obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we've got 6 shipments for us that we're actually going to be talking about here today. Just to note added, if you're a VAT registered, what you can do is you can do a PVA, so you can postpone your VAT, so you can just contact your forwarder, and what happens instead of you actually paying VAT, let's say in December, then claiming it back in February, you postpone that and you don't need to pay that. So it's really good for cash flow, especially if you're VAT registered. So what we've got is these are actually shipments that I've actually received, and we're going to go through different processes. Okay, they're all done in different dates in time, so hopefully you can figure out when I've actually started realizing how to do things and when I haven't. So we're going to start first of all. What we started with the EXW, a massive shipment. This is the EXW. We've got 42 cartons, 3 cubic meters, and we actually used a forwarder for that. But we used a forwarder with EXW. So not only we had the additional cost of actually having the goods from the port to UK, we also had the cost from the port from China mainland. So we had the extra cost of £118.75, that is, for us. Then the freight over here in the UK was £411.35. So that freight was actually unloading and having a shipment over from China and everything. Plus, we actually had to pay for one pallet, which at the time was £45. Pallet prices have actually been reduced massively. So we paid a total of shipment for 250 units, 1,274.47 pence. And I'm very happy to say that this has now been sold out for us. So roughly is we paid about 320 per cubic meter. That's what we ended up actually paying, about 320 per cubic meter for us. Next shipment, let's see. So we talked about this was D. Quite a big shipment, really was quite a big one. I thought, let's try the process. I would have saved a lot of money if I'd actually gone through the FOB method, I think. Because what happened is we had additional costs because they actually quoted us a different cubic meter to begin with. But anyways, you live and you learn. Continuing on, we have got, let's go for this one, okay? So we've got this order here, which is the same order. We've got 2 different prices for yourselves. So we've got FOB and DDP, the different ways to import those goods. Now for FOB, we had a 278, which is the extra to go from China to port and clear it. And then importing it in the UK, that would cost me 315 plus also the pallet of goods. Okay, so 2 pallets would have been for 18, and that actually cost me a total of £45. For us, let's have a look. Anything I'm actually missing out here? The cost per cubic meter. Okay, so this is the rate card at the moment in time. The cost per cubic meter is 130. So again, numbers that if you want to actually have for yourselves and compare. So if I was to do with FOB, it would have been $315 plus the $278. So total would have paid $480. If I was to do DDP, it would have been 526. So it would have been 526. So a total difference of like about 60 quid really between them, because what I've done is I've actually converted it. I've used the exchange rate of 0.79 because that's what it's been recently. Some of these transactions I've had a different exchange rate on them, but I've done it in order to be able to compare everything all together. So you can see about 216 per 216 per cubic meter. Next thing, we've got another shipment. We've got DDP, and we've got four boxes here. We've paid 174 quid postage, DDP postage for these ones, and we've got 425 units arrived. We paid 448 per cubic meter. This was quite an urgent order because I was getting out of stock, so I didn't actually. I just thought, let's go for it. Notice how these orders have not even tried quoting FOB, because when you call with a forwarder, they'll have a minimum order size. So for me, it is at least 300 quid, yeah, for us. So like, I need to get over the 2 point something before it's actually worth going with FOB and the forwarder. We've got another shipment. We've got DDP, 6 cartons this time. It cost us 177 quid to import it. It was 300 units, so it ended up actually costing us more, 616 for us. And you notice that the more units you actually order, of course, the cost actually lowers massively. We've got another FOB order here for us where we've got the extra cost from China over to port, 166. We've got the forward, the postage cost in the UK was actually 315. I don't know why I put 300, it's 315. It was. And we've got one pallet is going to use 1,300 units all in all. So it's going to cost us 656.7. No way I've done this right. So what we've added here, I've added C13 also. So we've got C13, total paid cost is C13, I13. So cubic meter is 0.77. Yeah, so it's just, yeah, so I've overpaid for that one. I know what I've done wrong with this one shipment here. You can guess, you can see again, I've gone with the forwarder when I've got less than 2 point something cubic meters. That's the issue for me. Yeah, so that's where I could have actually saved quite a lot of money here, probably 60, 70 quid if I'd actually done my maths correctly with that one. And the last one here, okay, for anyone who's actually interested in the future is this, okay. So this here we go is a container with FOB. So a container, first of all, contains 28 cubic meters. So you can actually get to the stage where you're actually importing full containers of it. The total cost would be, you've got UK shipping, unpacking, you've got the pallets, you've got delivery to Amazon, okay, because obviously what they've got to do is you've got to unpack it and then get that whole container going to Amazon, 625 quid. So total cost plus the freight, okay, 1,175 is the freight from China at FOB cost. So that total cost is 2,334, 4.25. But look at the difference here, okay? We're talking about 83. You're paying 83 per cubic meter. So of course that means you're importing a lot more. So what I'm going to be getting to, and get into the habit of not habit, but working with my forwarder, is I'm going to start actually getting my suppliers to actually put everything into a certain location, and then I can actually fill a whole container. That will actually bring down the shipment cost quite a lot for us. Because look at the difference, okay? You can actually see paid by cubic meter. Look at the difference between them and those prices for us. And I guess that's the thing. I love doing what I'm doing at the moment in time because I'm actually learning. Surprisingly, losing quite a lot. I'm losing a lot of information. I'm using quite a lot of maths really with it too. It's very, very exciting to actually do what I do at the moment in time, plus trying to build a brand, sourcing new goods, learning from mistakes, which is priority for us. And yeah, if you're interested in doing private labeling in 2024, we've got 3 more days where you can actually get Helium 10 40% off for 4 months, which is amazing. Amazing offer for yourselves. And if you want to book a call with myself, I've got the link below in the description for us. But yeah, I think 2024 is a good year to actually start doing something different with your business. Even if it's 1 or 2 products you want to actually try, but why not get it started? I've gone completely from actually, I'm selling out all my OA and all my array stock, and I'm just going to be doing private labeling due to time for us, time spent. But yeah, very excited what's happening here, and hope this actually has been beneficial. If you enjoyed this video, you can leave a like, subscribe, that'd be amazing. Yeah, and as always, yeah, and let's keep at it.